Hello everyone, it's Serenity. I hope you're doing well. So in my last video, I basically addressed Anthony Morris as well as other governing body members. I really didn't say exactly why his discourse ticked me off so much, but it wasn't just the discourse, it was a lot of things that kind of peaked to one moment where I was extremely fed up and irritated, not just by Jehovah's Witnesses, but by the entire basically system of this satanic based form of Christianity. So the thing is it's about mind control and keeping humanity basically in a slave mentality state. And this is done by mind conditioning. And once they condition the mind, they control you. And that's why I was so irritated when Anthony Morris had mentioned, the example of Abraham and Isaac. And even though Abraham didn't go through with killing his son, he had already done it in his heart and mind. That right there is mind conditioning of the very ones that are listening to him speak. So I'm just going to put this out there and really think about this. How have Jehovah's Witnesses, especially these governing body members, gotten these very ones who look up to them to basically, as Tony Morris said, already make these sacrifices in their heart and mind? I know some of you already know, but think about it. They have gotten people to put their own lives aside for this so-called God of theirs. So they will willingly forego saving their own lives, like for life-saving medical procedures, for this God. That's one thing that is very strong mind conditioning. Another thing, they have gotten the majority of these members in their hearts and minds to figuratively kill their relatives if they don't believe the same thing that they do. So in effect, this is a sacrifice, because in order for a person to detach from that natural affection that should be within them, they have to have the mind control to override those feelings, to do whatever these members who are supposed to be acting on God's behalf telling their followers to do. These are just some very small examples, but for these ones in their minds and hearts to be able to figuratively and even literally kill others because they don't believe the same lies that the collective does, is in itself mind control. Now, this isn't something new, because the mother, the one who gave birth to basically this satanic-based Christianity, is the Vatican. Now, there are things I covered in very early videos that are coming to light now that these forces did not want known. But it is coming out, because remember, nothing hidden won't be exposed. And that's exactly what's happening now. So even these things that are starting to be exposed are just like a drop in the figurative ocean. So did anyone not wonder why, the Bible only contains like Jesus' childhood, and then when he's basically a grown man in his 30s, where did all that additional information go? And if it was accessible, why isn't it included in the Bible? There's a reason for that. Basically because they wanted to whitewash Jesus, literally and figuratively, in the Bible. Like I said, in the Bible, he is presented as something and someone that is not accurate. Okay? So I guess what I want to say is what was included in the Bible was not divinely inspired, but satanically inspired. But there are things in there that are still useful, because the ones who put it together didn't figure that someone, or, ones who would actually be able to decipher the truth from the lies would ever reappear in return. So, that's what I wanted to say. But these ones are trying to do everything to block out the truth, the true light. So, this is the light of truth, which is from the present, past, and as well as the future, but also the light, which I told you is the Father's energy in this dimension, which is the sun. So there are many suns. So his energy is throughout the universe. But when it says the Son of Man, it actually should read the S-U-N of man. And then it'll make so much more sense, because there's so many suns that this sun is differentiated because it's the son of the man, or the species known as mankind. Okay? That's another thing I wanted to bring out. But these low vibrational forces that want to stay in control of the world, these elites, these ruling class, their goal is to mind control the entire human race in order for them to be a slave class or serfs. Not like wave serfs, but S-E-R-F-S, serfs, slaves. So they're doing everything they can to genetically modify the DNA from ever progressing, like I said, to this divinity state that was basically implanted into humankind so they would rise above that slave class, okay? So even ones saying put on sunscreen, stay out of the sun, they're literally spraying particulates in the air that reflect the sun's rays so they don't reach the earth in its full strength, because they want to affect these electro and geomagnetic waves basically from reaching the earth and humankind. So that's what's going on, because they are literally trying everything to maintain power and control, but at this point the end is already sealed. It would be equivalent to, let's say, two parties going through a divorce where one does not want the divorce because they are benefiting immensely from that union. But the divorce is already in progress. The only thing that one that doesn't want it to actually be finalized can do is prolong the process. And that's exactly what these powers and entities are doing. All they're doing is prolonging the process of something that is imminent. And there is only so much you can do to block the progress before that's going to be finalized. There will be nothing else you can do to stop that ending. You can't. It's just what it is. So that's why I even talk about timelines being exhausted and whatnot, because that's exactly what these ones have been doing all this time, is trying to create blockages in order to avoid the inevitable, which is their end. Okay? So now you know why Toni Morris looked so scared and was shaking and jumpy and looking up and like this, because he's scared. He knows the ending is inevitable for these ones who have literally been puppeted by these forces to keep humanity in a state and a mental enslavement, basically. Now, many think, okay, well, is anything going to be done? Remember, God is love, but God is just. Divine justice at its best. Now, love isn't stupid. Love is not blind. So, most of you only know this lifetime, but there, as I said, have been billions and trillions of years of different things happening. And believe me, God or Source has tried every opportunity to get ones to repent and change course. When it is beyond a shadow of a doubt clear that these ones will not change no matter what, then divine justice has to be orchestrated. That's just what it is. So that's what's going to happen. You cannot have, basically, I will call them parasites, sick nasties, ruling the earth at the expense of the ones who are righteous or trying to live by that law of love. Because what those ones who have bad intentions are doing is infringing on the free will and the rights of those who are doing the right thing. And that can no longer happen. It can no longer happen, period. Now, this goes back actually to what Jesus was saying. And this is why I keep saying, stop judging, stop judging, stop judging. And if you realize you have been, let's say, maybe not in a state that you are proud of, acknowledge it, repent, apologize, forgive, and move forward. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to read Matthew 7 again. 1, 3, and then 12. Okay? It says, judge not that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye? Do not consider the plank, but do not consider the plank in your own eye. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Now notice what Jesus said in verse 12. Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. So my point is all of these energies, these low vibrational energies, you are not exempt from this law. So obviously, all of these things that you have done to the children of God, humanity, people, animals, all of that, you must have been totally fine with it happening to you yourself. That is the golden rule. You treated others the way you were, basically acknowledging that you would be accepting of to be treated yourself. This is the true meaning of karma. So everything you put out now has to come back. And no one, and I mean no one, should have the nerve to complain about the justice that will be handed out to them. So for you killing and doing all these things, not just now, but in centuries past, Source and the 7, yes, I said it, and the 7, who are aspects of Source, have not overlooked anything, but have been very patient, and given you the necessary time to make adjustments and change course. Because the last thing we wanted was for anyone to lose their life. But at this point, it's necessary to make those adjustments because, as I said, you are parasites, you are sick nasties, and you cannot continue ruling this world, period. So whatever it takes to clean it will happen. So what I have to say is, for those of you who are on the fence, you can't be on the fence. You have to make a decision. It's not about being a part of a religion. You're either going to stand for love or you're going to stand for control and slavery. That's it. You cannot have two masters, period. I would love to sugarcoat stuff, but I can't. I just can't. This is nothing to be afraid of. But just like in the past, all these ones suffered needlessly under the hands of these ones in the name of so-called Jesus and Christianity, the same thing is going to be returned to you. That's why I keep saying get out of her, which is Babylon the Great. You don't want anything to do with her and what's coming, or the judgment that has already been decided for her. Okay? Now, this is all false religion, and those of you who belong to them know who they are. Those are the ones who take away free will and have oppressed in any type of way God's creations. Okay? That's it. So when you hear of these ones prophesying and even say that, you know, Christians are going to be persecuted, this is those Christians and these other religions who have that satanic-based mindset, which is control and that feeling that humans do not have the right to free will, which they do. Okay. That's it for today. I hope this wasn't too, heavy for people, but it's something you really, really need to think about. And I am going to link several videos in the comment section, and I urge you to take a look at them. It has to do with the Vatican. Yeah, because things aren't so simple. They have done a lot. They have hid a lot. And the things I've been telling you that is true about God, source, Jesus, religion, they know. And they've been hiding it. Okay. I love you all. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Sending my love and peace to you all.